morning. How we doing? Welcome to This Week in Worcester with Kenny B. Hey, how we doing? Cities and suburbs, 10/30, 2019. Do not mind these people behind me. Do not mind them. I have a live camera going here too, so we'll see what shows up with this. If you guys don't mind if I do a couple of readjustments here and there. How we doing tonight? And hope you all doing well. So last week of October, and last week of October. Tomorrow's the last day of October, 10/31/19. Um, All Hallows Eve tomorrow night. Boo hoo. Worcester had a. I want to cover a couple of things tonight that are happening in Worcester, actually. And to be a little bit more serious, was a lot going on in Worcester. Halloween is tomorrow night. It's going to be a nasty night, actually, for trick or treating. And let me ask you, because you guys, I'll do a poll, a survey poll on the cast here um, about what do you think the fate of Halloween is now. Um, it's celebrated on or recognized on the 31st of October. There's a reason for that, but I'm not going to get into the whole. How would you say well, what influenced Halloween? Was it the Scandinavians? Did it, the pagan rituals that actually, are passed on through to these Halloween and Celtic holidays and to Christmas, actually, pagan holidays and rituals, and I don't use pagan in a bad way. It's just, yeah, they are recognized events. But there was a move in Worcester to move Worcester to, I believe, the last Saturday um, of the month. And just to make it safer. So if that were to pass, then last Saturday, December 26th, would have been people went out and little kids with their families would have went out and did the trick or treat thing. And the big move was about being safe. It gets dark, the time change, and we get it, but it was shot down. So Halloween stands. It is like we're talking about holidays, different holidays that, how Thanksgiving was, donated to, I believe, the second to last Thursday in November. Christmas floats whenever it lands on that day. They're not designated federal holidays. Halloween is not a designated federal holiday. So if it lands on a Tuesday, it lands on a Tuesday, and that's when you want to celebrate it. So tomorrow is the 31st. It's going to be nasty weather. But this week in Worcester, there was a terrible suicide at the Mercantile Center down on Front Street. And a terrible event, actually. That was Monday, the 28th. And apparently, a woman had cast herself 19 stories down. Not a lot of mention of it because they do not mention a lot of events in the public record, which is the Worcester TMP, the Telegram. And they do not mention the victims' names, and I do understand that, but it does not bring an awareness to why this woman jumped, and an awareness to the mental health crisis we have in this country, and we don't talk about it. It shouldn't be a shameless thing. Now, this individual that, yes, the police and investigators determined it an apparent suicide, and that was from Mass Live. You guys can go check that out. It's certainly out there. But not a lot of details. There won't be a obit in the paper stating to how this person passed, or so it was a terrible tragedy, but it really brings to light that, how did that happen? How did the person gain access to the building? I immediately thought maybe it was, we don't want to talk too much about that because of the beer garden incident on Friday night at the beer garden around 12:15. There were about 7 individuals arrested. There must have been probably 13, 15 Worcester Public Police that were Worcester Police that were called to the Worcester Beer Garden with a K9 unit. And I'm going to share the video on my Cities and Suburb page on Facebook and on YouTube. But there was a lot going on in this week in Worcester, and it was happening in an area that is the Renaissance of Worcester, the Beer Garden, the Mercantile Center, kind of a black eye in terms of the perception of Worcester. A lot of people are using the new Mercantile Center, and they're walking around in the Mercantile Center, and they say, well, I don't even feel like I'm in Worcester. Whoa. Well, a lot of people said that's complimentary. I don't know if it's complimentary or a little bit of a, there's still that element out there. I don't feel like I'm in Worcester right here, but if I step out of here, I'm going to feel like I'm in Worcester. And, well, cities are cities. There are homeless people and people begging, and it's going to happen. I've been to many, many major cities, and you can go into a beautiful, beautiful area, and there's still going to be people that are needy and want what you have. So let's just say that. So Worcester elections, November 5th. Let me check the calendar. Because, November 5th, Tuesday, there are so many. I think there were about 13 folks running for city council. The school committee's wide open. We have young blood. We're injecting young blood into the system. We're saying goodbye to some of the older guard. That actually kept Worcester, the people who didn't want the Mass Pike to come through Worcester, back in the day when Worcester was a manufacturing giant, and then we went south. Actually, we didn't go south. The jobs went east to the Oriental East, just like most of America. But right now we have, with the Renaissance going on in Worcester, there are a lot of interested people, particularly in the school system. Some people like Superintendent Maureen Benender, and some people don't. What her policies are and things like that. What do you think? Is Maureen Benender doing a good job, an excellent job, a not good job as superintendent of the Worcester Public Schools? Please comment below on that. What do you think about, some of the folks that are running at district and at large for city council? I love it. There's been a lot of great debates at Mechanics Hall. They've been streamed live. Facebook, there were 8,000 people streaming live. 8,000 people watching the debates on Facebook, which is great because people aren't going to show up to watch this. You had like 3% of the population was to show up at the primaries, So now you have who you have, but you still have some really good, strong candidates in Worcester. And right now, the big thing is in the Worcester Public Schools over the last 6 months has been the inequality of, the disciplinary action taken against some of the minority students versus the non-minority students. Okay. Commercially, the commercial tax rate in Worcester has gone up for our businesses and has been reduced for the residential. So what is going on now is that we are losing businesses in Worcester. We are losing. Um, we have to find a balance between the commercial tax rate and the residential tax rate. You know, you raise it up on the people, and it's an election year, so you start talking taxes in people's pockets. People always vote with their pockets. There could be a nuclear war on the horizon. How much is it going to cost me for it or to get out of it? Well, what do I need to do here? But don't take it. Don't take it all. But that residential commercial tax rate, some towns have a flat tax rate for both businesses and the resident people who live there. Um, so that's always a balance. But there are like Prime Metals is moving out of Worcester. That's 400 jobs that they're taking to the abutting bedroom sleepy town of Sutton, Massachusetts. And when you move a business like that, and Prime Metals were, I know some people who work at Workforce Central, they were doing a job fair for those folks trying to hire machinists. And the economy's so good right now because we're in a full economy. Everybody that can work, and I mentioned the other night, is working. Um, but Prime Metals couldn't attract flies when that job fair event was set up right at their residence, their establishment. They are gone. They're moving to Sutton, Massachusetts, and but you take 400 jobs out of a sector. Okay, there's enough empty storefronts in Worcester, by the way. There really are, not just downtown, but anywhere you go. Um, and one job supports so many other jobs. Meaning, so I work in an area. I work actually not far from Prime Metals. I spend my money that I make in that area, daily, lunch, this and that. So my job, actually, my income, my disposable income is actually supporting many jobs, many establishments. So when you take one job, there's 400 going away with Prime Metals. We take one of those jobs away. I mean, maybe half those folks that did that just sat in the lunchroom and took their lunch. You bought gas in the area. You stopped at the package store on the way home. You did something. You spend money in that area. Money's gone. Jobs are gone. Economically, the people who are still going to work at Prime Metals now have to get into their car and drive. Now, maybe for some of them it was closer. Maybe they were driving from Sutton to Worcester. Well, but now you're burning more gas, right? You're burning more gas. You're taking more time on the road. You're causing congestion. So, what are smart economics? And we get to how can Worcester become competitive and be competitive? We're losing jobs. We're gaining jobs. The ballpark's being built, but those are $12 an hour jobs, maybe 13 by the time the park's open. We need high-end jobs. We need jobs that, we have our 10, 11 colleges and universities. No brain drain. Let's keep them here, right? Create the jobs. Keep the people here. That means a fair tax rate, not 35, not $36. Okay? However they do it, I think it's a square foot. I don't own, I rent. Um, but I certainly understand where my money goes. But anyway, but yeah, so much going on in Worcester right now, and it's Renaissance. And but there's some things where it still is kind of shaking off the blues as an old manufacturing city that was incorporated in the 1720s. And well, whenever you get down on Worcester, thank Stephen Salisbury. Go check him out. All right, he's the man. All right. Anyway, guys, I'm going to sign off. Hey, what do you guys think about? This is really weird. You may not like baseball. You may not like sports, but you may like statistics and phenomenon. So, phenomena. The World Series is between the Houston Astros and the Washington Nationals. Okay, 7 games. And so the first 2 games, Washington had Houston had the best record, so they were hosting the first 2 games to the Washington Nationals, of whom the Washington Nationals beat the Houston Astros on their home turf. Okay, the series shifts back to Washington. The Houston Astros beat the Washington Nationals on their home turf 3 games. So last night we went back to Houston with the Washington Nationals. I'm sorry, the Houston Astros up 3 games to 2, 1 game away from eliminating the Washington Nationals from the series, and then the Houston Astros would have been last night the World Series championship. Ugly game, man. Great baseball. It's almost like football with baseball bats. Um, but the Nationals put the whoop ass to the Astros and beat them 7-2. So again, the home tonight we have a deciding game 7 with the Washington Nationals away and playing at the Houston. I was going to say Astrodome. What's it called now? Tropicana Field? No, I'm just kidding. Um, but they are playing at Houston tonight, Washington Nationals. If they win tonight, that means that both teams that played in this World Series did not win 1 game at home to win the World Series. And I have to look that up and see what that means. But Washington lost all its games at home. Houston so far has lost all its games at home. And tonight is the deciding factor. It's going to be great baseball. Enjoy it, all right? And we'll see how 8-0 Pats are doing. I heard we have a new kicker, by the way. Oh, God. And the beat goes on. Anyway, guys, you all have a good night, and we'll see you soon. Thanks a lot.